My name is Malik, just to speak on it. Today is 6/24/22. This is a retro current team slot nonprofit. We're here to give you some information. I don't want to say teach, but the T stand for teach, train, tame. E for educate, enlighten, empower. A for advocate. M stand for mentoring. And this is how we do it. Today will be a different approach, but we have to address some of the issues that's real. And I want to say this at the beginning of the program. There is one piece that we would use where the young people at 31st Street Beach were narrating almost minute per minute what was going on in their mind, in their bodies, and the trauma, the energy is something that you should feel in case you didn't see it. But there's an issue with that, and I've talked to the staff here at CAN TV, and I talked to my producer, Brother Amari. We are going to present it, and it has street language in it, which has become the primary language of so many of our people. Profanity. It ain't overpowering, but it comes. Person witnessing people get killed. Person running with the police. So of course he gonna say some things that some of you all gonna say he shouldn't have played that. Well, this is a live presentation, but we will be trying to figure out how we can save the flavor after we present it. But we definitely have to present it to that degree. So I'm saying in advance, it's not an apology, it's just an alert. Don't get off into your feelings because you hear that. What you need to think about is what's going to happen to these young people that experience what they experience in the rest of their lives. Because if white folks and Asians and others listen to it and see it, they're going to come with a whole syllabus for their universities. You see? Now, I don't know if it's copyrighted, it was happening. So we're using it. But the first piece you're going to see, I just want you to see it. Once again, I want you to see it. And I want you to feel the man in the car. A senior citizen, an elder. I want you to feel the fear that he must have been feeling when that was happening to him. And then I want you to think in your mind, do Chicago need 4 more years of that? Huh? No. The governor said that they could bring in the National Guard, but he has not been asked. That's because they don't feel what you're going to see here. Can you imagine? That could have been me, could have been you, could have been your granddaddy, could have been your grandmother, could have been your mother, could have been your father. And them your offsprings, and you want to make excuses? I'm through talking. Amari, show it to him. Now I want you to just think for a minute. They call that having fun. It should be called a crime. But this is not something that slips up on Chicago. They have the technology to know what's coming. They have the technology to see and hear that they have announced a takeover. Can you imagine these creatures announced to the world that we're going to have a takeover and this is what we're going to do, and this city can't do a thing about it but let it happen? Come on, y'all. Something is wrong with this. Something is sick with this. You see, when you got situations like this, you have to use force. Force is the only thing that will stop this type of insanity. It is. You have to force them to stop. But this administration appears to be impotent as it relates to safety. It's a pathetic shame. Understand? Just wanted you to see that. Now, the piece we're finna show you now is a little long, but it's all right because it follows that. And then we're going to show you the piece as it relates, which is brief, to the North Avenue Beach situation. I just want you to understand some things. They tell them they can't come downtown, they give them a curfew. What difference do it make? They still working havoc. They still terrorizing citizens. But there don't seem to be a crisis to this administration. And that includes the alderman. So when I say this administration, I am not just talking about Lightfoot, the mayor. I'm talking about the mentality of those so-called wannabe elites. Those that have been contaminated by this new generation insanity where they don't believe you're supposed to have law and order. Now you listen to this because these young people narrated what they was experiencing. And I want to run the whole thing because you're going to hear some things at the end they're going to show you in his movement as it relates to conversation. How he will be scarred for the rest of his life. Because he's going to have some sleepless nights. But this is what they are thinking when they're there, involved in it. Those that have enough sense to think. Now this piece here, 31st Street Beach. Have you found that piece, Amara? Not this piece here. It will talk about the 31st Street Beach. That's the piece that we want to show. I think we saw it. That's the one I want. So let's just see. Let's get started and see what we have to do with it. Yeah, we'll cut that short because that's a little bit much. But it's worth us doing it. And we'll determine that. Maybe the show will just be this. Now, just look. Just having fun, huh? How many of you all have been to the 31st Street Beach? How many of you all used to have fun out there? Now they have taken it over and look what you got. And you ended up getting 2 or 3 people shot. Huh? 2 or 3 people got shot, at least 2 of them were female. I haven't read anything, but I heard these boys say somebody died. You understand? Look at this. This is what they call having fun, and this administration allows it to happen. What you mean they allow it? They do. They should have had the National Guard out there with the police. Because you're going to see and hear on here, the police going to break with them. Running for cover. You know they are going to do this. But you don't have nothing in place but a fake, childish curfew. How will a curfew curtail this type of insanity? And how did we get to this? We got to this because you got people in positions that don't care about the quality of life in the community. You understand me? This is what we have slumped to. They just kids. They just young folk. They brain don't develop until they get 24. You got to be out of your mind. You mean to tell me that the citizens got to wait until they get 24 before they can have peace? Huh? Okay, it ain't downtown. You know what I'm saying? It ain't downtown. But suppose you live in that area. Now I'm finna be quiet so you can hear this boy.
He got hit in the throat, boy. He hit in the throat, boy.
He did?
He right there. He hit him in the throat, boy.
Come right here?
Yeah. He hit him in the throat, boy. Shit leaking.
He got in the shoulder, so.
He got hit in the shoulder?
Yeah.
I saw blood right here dripping.
He would have been dead, so. He hit his throat. He wouldn't have been breathe right there, so. He hit his shoulder right here, so.
Now they out there, they got out the car and they out there going into the truck. Calling it for what they see. Being nosy to catch a bullet.
Oh, Mike might right there with me. I don't even know where Mike went.
Yeah, everybody got there.
I think the Mike right up.
No.
This is what your children are doing.
Where you start running with me at?
And you making excuses for this.
I just had 3 little niggas helping me find my phone. I say, look, folks, could y'all please help me find
Y'all
my
saw
phone?
you running with me, though.
I ducked. They got the bubble.
My mama, they got the bump. It's like I wanted to duck, but I couldn't duck, gang.
Hell, I ain't running with no bullets flying. I'm ducking. Well, I'm falling. I'm on the ground. I'm hit. I'm right there telling my mama hit. I'm hit.
Hell yeah, boy, she hit, boy.
No.
Oh, two girls over there. He hit right here, too.
And the third one on the side of the
He hit right here, too.
I heard my folks getting tapped out, but they running on the side.
12 behind the paddy wagon. They start blowing.
I'm stuck in the bushes waiting on help to come. They steady knocking.
You heard them switches?
Now this is what's going on between them as this insanity takes place.
I told you I'm finna get my gun.
Boom, boom.
This is their enjoyment, their entertainment. They're having fun.
I don't know.
But we want to show you this so maybe some of you sorry behind politicians will realize that this is not the way you have fun. And put something in place if it has to be the National Guard to curtail this and stop it.
Hey, can I see your phone? Can I see your phone? Please, let's go. I'm sorry for snatching.
Man, they fighting somebody else.
Now they fighting somebody else.
What the fuck you mean relax? That's my cut over here. Shoot me.
Them white folks and Hispanics, you got that job, they really got a good job because they making all that money in overtime. You don't hardly see no black people out there at all in uniform.
The person that shot her
Ain't done a hell of a thing. That's part of the problem.
on 31st. It don't matter, brother. I'm good. I'm good. I don't know.
My mama, some told me to been leave too, shorty. I ain't gonna even lie. Some told me to leave, shorty.
You
They just
hear?
shot them girls,
Some told me
man.
to leave.
Him, they hit him too. He hit too, man. He hitting his neck, man.
See the man sitting down there? They say he's shot.
She over here scratch, boy.
How do a city allow this? You knew it was coming. A takeover, and that's exactly what they did, took over. And this is a new weekend we're coming into. Could have happened somewhere else, probably at the same phase. Again.
My mama.
And I'm telling you, that's a good job. Look at it. All them white folks. Ain't that something? Good job. Make more time in overtime than they do on their regular time. But yet Negroes can't have it. Look at that. That's one of the big. Came to have fun.
Shorty.
Now they land what? Leaking. Bleeding out.
Damn, shorty.
Oh yeah, this is what people want you to understand. You need to start speaking when the election time comes in your area. Speak them people that's in office out of office with your vote. Because this is all they're fit for, and you don't need them. Ever since they've been in office, we've been had this type of
I'm
insanity.
gonna come back and express like 6 motherfuckers out here, gang. When you like to you, Scud. I won't ever shoot out with the police. This 31st. This like 31st and what's the Indiana?
We was in the middle of the crowd right here.
Well, Cottage. 31st and Cottage Grove. Hell.
I'm trying to mic this little bit.
Hell no, I don't think she good, man. I think she died, man.
She had a seizure. I don't think she.
Now this is just a conversation among people that was driving through, coming to have fun.
They just got bumping the crowd down. Like it was like 5 shooters, 5 different shooters just bumping, shooting at the crowd. My mama, they just shooting in the crowd, shorty.
Right in construction.
I heard it.
Heard what?
I heard motherfucker hopping the gate right here.
I heard her shot go off.
Then I heard dude. I see the crowd run over here. Then dude over here bumping. I'm damn.
I think he was at the gate with me. I don't know.
Then the 2 dudes when we ran on the side of the gate. Gee, why 12 ducking behind the paddy wagon? Is y'all good? On Sunday, the police ran with us, G. Well,
So in their conversation, you hear the laugh because that's how they act.
my motherfucking ankle
But this
hurt
is
before I ain't gonna lie.
I think, an
ain't trying to hear that
excellent
shit.
teaching tool to give you some insight into the
Damn,
mind of the teenagers or the young people.
I just knew I was finna get hit, man. I just felt it on. Cause I ain't duck.
I was this way on the side of you. Fuck that, they got the bump it. Everybody ran. I dropped to the floor, G. Who the fuck run when they started shooting, man?
I swear to God, G, the police. Hey, true. If I'm lying, then the police run with us, G. On my mama, G, the 12 ran with us. Boy, they heard them switches going on. On my mama, all they said is y'all good, y'all good. On my mama, we ducking and running. They ducking and running with us.
Now, like you said, the police was running too. Think. This is what
This
the
30
city of
this 31st Cottage
Chicago
Grove.
allows every weekend and throughout the week. Now they want you to re-elect them another term. Come November.
This bitch was just
Or whenever the hell it is. You need to be voting all of them out.
I see the whole crowd.
It's like my reaction. Look, bitch, I'm talking to my body. This bitch say, boom. See, I'm pushing motherfuckers out my way. I swear to God, yo, pushing motherfuckers down. Y'all know I got a bad leg. I can't even run like that.
Boy, see, he got a bad leg, huh? See, he been shot. So I wonder if that's why his leg bad. Keep listening. Keep watching.
Hey, y'all need to fire some of y'all officers because they ran with us. We running, they was running with us.
You hear the boy? He said they should fire some of the officers. They scared. That's why you need the National Guard, somebody they ain't gonna
I
run
swear to
with.
God, they need to fire some of their officers. Hey, when we ran, why the police officers was running with us?
Good
They
question.
ducking and running too. I swear to God. The police beat us across the street.
See there? Now, how do you expect them
Come on, we going. G. We go to side.
to pay attention to the police
Damn,
when the
it's red
police,
tape.
No information. We should.
which makes sense, they supposed to run, otherwise get hit.
Hello, guys. Hey, DJ, what's up, man?
That's why you should have a preventive system in
shit
place,
the crib.
administration, putting the lives of the police and everybody else at risk. Because you don't have enough understanding with all of these intelligent people in this country. You don't have enough intelligence to bring somebody in here that can bring an end to this. And don't tell me it's all over the country. That's because those of you that's been elected under this new generation and this new insanity of law and order, this is what you have brought this to, or allowed to be here. Now, I don't think these kids came there to do that. They just had enough
Make it Geo, man.
Hey, George.
foresight to record it.
Come on, yeah.
And record it as it's happening.
What you looking for?
Which is something you ain't gonna get from the
Man,
news.
fuck them glasses,
because
boy.
they are not doing it from the perspective
Boy,
of
somebody
these kids that's
duck on them
involved.
anyway.
And that's why we running the whole thing so you can feel it. Without it being edited. By white folks and others.
I be checking myself.
They don't understand the emphasis of this type of experience. Where they at?
That's what I'm going for.
You gotta bust it right.
Damn,
They just cruising. That's not even killed.
Like, True's right there by you on you.
hell yeah.
It's them bitches got the ring and all. We just all reaction.
They out on the
I
town,
got down. I'm gone.
driving through danger, but you have the opportunity
swear to
to
God.
hear their conversation. Now, I think that's a very valuable
Damn,
experience.
This nigga just...
They are documenting
Damn,
what's happening in their life
Yeah.
that night.
Hey, y'all straight?
Yeah, come on.
Come on.
Check it out. Tell your friend come in. I went to school last month. Man, I went to school with you.
You can talk to my friend.
How did you talk to your friend?
Talk to my friend Mark.
We ain't stole this. We got it off of social media. I hope the boy, young man, the people's involved,
Man, I'm finna get
ain't
off
got
this
no
shit,
issues
G.
with it,
We love
copyrights,
it.
whatnot. But we
Hey.
are showing it not to make mock,
I'm finna get off this
not
shit,
to
G.
expose, but to
I ain't gonna lie, for I'm
educate
tired of
the
being the shit off.
community
I ain't gonna need to lie, y'all.
and to give them an
I just got
insight
off in the chill today. I swear to God.
that these young people have done an excellent job
Hey,
presenting.
who's old girl with them black shorts on?
My friend.
What's her name?
Go to school with you.
Yeah.
Now they coming back to being their age. Why you be out there? You trying to catch. You trying to have fun. You trying to interact with your
I ain't gonna
own
lie, y'all. I'm finna be over
kind.
with.
In these cases, like they
My
like
day
girls.
party and going with crowds and shit like that shit dead. And I know better, man. I fucking know better.
He said he
It's
know
over
better
that
than to
today.
be out there.
It's all with. And I know better. I swear to God on my homie, folk. I know better, folk.
Her name, they love Mark.
So don't say they don't know what you're dumb behind. He told you they know better.
What's Gary Coleman?
I doubt if he's 24 you. He say he know better,
What's your
y'all.
friend name, the black short?
Listen to him. They do know better.
Tell her come out.
That little booty.
I'm just love with.
Man, come on, we gone. Break damn steering wheel. Damn, she just...
And we know better, y'all. Like, we know better not to be in them crowds.
Now he's
man.
saying
I
we
shoulda
know
been-
better.
Nah, we should have been left.
We should have been left.
Trying to show out. Dumbass nigga. Nah, know better, man. What's right?
So the next time you damn politicians say they don't know
Yeah,
better,
man, that girl died.
find this and
Hell
let
yeah,
them keep
folks.
telling you we know better.
Oh,
You
man,
politicians
folks.
just ain't doing no better.
The one that was just on the scratcher,
I
folks.
ain't even see her.
Man, my mama, folks, they killed her, folks.
That shit crazy.
For you see all that blood on the ground? Well, she wasn't even talking. On game, she wasn't even talking.
Went to Mike Jacobs ass.
See, they got to feel
Yeah, they had to carry her.
Yeah.
the spirit that flows through the blood that comes from that type of wound.
And
it touched their soul.
I think they
Straight to the crib, boy. That's all it
Oh, game, folks. Killed that little girl like that, folks.
And hear the empathy in his voice.
Nah, folks, we know, folks. On my homie, folks, something telling me like, man, bail. Something telling me like, DJ, get up out of here.
Where you at?
My dumb,
Listen.
stupid, goofy ass want to sit around and grab ass. Man, that shit dead.
Y'all was up here?
My stupid, goofy ass, man.
He know.
On my homie, folks.
Listen at it. He know better.
Dude.
And now he analyzing.
He said, nah, he only got hit in the shoulder. So I walked up on him and shaked him. He asked the police, like, I'm good. He lifting his neck up. He on good. My mom, yeah. My mom, I see hella blood just dripping down it. Before you get hit in the shoulder, you ain't gonna bleed from right here. He mean I'm good, good. He mean I'm good, I'm good. Oh, them motherfuckers switching was going off.
That was
You heard them switching things, George?
yeah.
My mama, folks.
Yeah.
Man, I'm surprised you didn't hit them bitches.
I heard regular shots.
Hell no, boy. I heard
You can
switching.
feel the fear in this
My
young
mama heard
man.
like 2 switches going off.
Hold on.
Not that type of fear, but the
Man,
fear,
that shit on
the
31st and Cotton
anxiousness,
Grove,
the
man. I
nervousness
said that's when.
to be that close.
Side of me.
I hope you can feel it. And the next time you go vote, feel it and vote them out. Because they should know better than to allow this to get this bad.
That shit on 31st and Cotton Grove, G. Man, for the answer some comments, fuck them comments, nigga. I'm scared for my life. Y'all talking about some comments. Y'all gotta make sure I'm straight.
Listen at it.
Fuck y'all stay talking about some comments, motherfucker. The fuck, man, fuck them comments. Yeah, I'm scared for my motherfucking life.
Now that's part of that language we can't
I'm
control.
terrified.
Cause
I then had a heart attack out there. My fat ass running. The crowd running, the police running with me. I'm out there terrified. Switches. These ain't regular guns no more. These bitches shoot 10 bullets at a time. Y'all stay talking about some fucking comments, bitch. What
can
the
you
fuck?
feel it? You hearing? He telling
Fuck the
you.
motherfucking comments. Y'all supposed to be asking me if I'm alright.
Look at it. See? That's how he handling it.
Yeah, stay talking about.
But it's
Talking about
pain.
comments.
He going through something that was
Fuck them
hurt
comments.
him for the rest of his life.
Read the book, ask the comment. Man, fuck the motherfucking comments.
Hell nah.
I'm out there. I'm still shaking. I'm still jittery as hell. See that girl out there scratched out? What? Out there scratched. Mom, I'm finna go in the crib and lay my ass down for like 10 days. And just reevaluate my whole motherfucking life.
Listen to the boy. Don't judge the boy because his name
What the
is.
fuck?
Listen to him and feel the pain.
Hoes out there trying to fight the police. They crying for their friend. She out there bloody as hell, just stressed out.
And you politicians allow
I feel
it.
slow as
You
hell.
gonna bring in the National Guard?
Fuck all that.
Listen to that boy.
My back feels so, legs hurt. I'm shaky as hell. I ain't gonna even lie. I'm scared as hell.
Listen at it. He's scared.
It's like the father I ran.
I'm
Dude,
scared.
no,
All of
let me
us scared. You sorry politicians. You getting paid, and this is what you allow
Fuck
to
that
happen
shit,
to the
dude. I ain't
seniors
gonna
and
lie,
these
folks.
kids out here.
It's time me to go ahead and move around.
He coming out to
cuz.
have a good time, and what happens?
I ain't gonna even lie, folks.
Two
I'm getting too
girls
old
get
for this
shot
shit.
up,
It's like every motherfucker trying
and
to.
you knew they were
everybody
coming.
gonna try to kick it.
Administration.
Niggas come with guns. God damn. I'm just knowing tonight finna end well. Nope. Black people just can't never just kick it.
See, that's the
I'm
good
finna go
thing
my
about
ass back to school or
KNTV.
something, man.
We were able to
Fuck
show
that.
you this. We hope we can get away
Might
with
apply for
this.
Amazon.
But you need to be able to
the
see
fuck
this
on?
and feel this.
This shit for the
uncensored,
birds, G.
and
George,
not
check me,
without
G.
the,
Fuck
the
all that,
commentary
George.
of a contaminated
Check me.
European or some
gotta
other
see if I'm shot
person.
fit. Fuck all
Let
that.
this black boy talk.
I'm straight, G. Fuck all that. I'm scared of the motherfucker, G.
Listen to his common
My
language.
mama, fuck, I'm just
Scared.
feeling shit all in my legs. My bullet wounds get the aching and shit.
Listen to it. It's real.
Go ahead, buy me a fifth of Remy, folks.
Now they done
Take this
left
shit
the
away.
scene and now they in the car kicking it.
Somebody some goddamn check the comment.
And that's what he's feeling.
The fuck? Damn, folks. It was a lot of
Everybody
pretty
down
ass females out
there
there,
should
too.
be under investigation
Oh, damn,
until you
folks.
find out
Damn,
who
folks.
called for the takeover.
2 females and a nigga.
He was panicking too hard. Man. She wanna go.
Man, no, folks, her ass was out that script. One of these, one of these
She was
panicking.
alive. They was moving and shit. She was
This boy
Man,
here
she shot,
is
folks. This
educating
her first
y'all.
time getting shot, G.
put down the UAV.
This boy here should be found and they should give him a
He like that
grant.
shot, folks. Shit.
And he
What
and
the
his
fuck
partners
female
should
shit,
be
what
allowed to
female
go
gonna
out
do? Like, shit, they gonna panic. That bitch was going.
and
I knew that shit
document
gonna happen, though.
what's
I
happening
knew
in
that
these
shit gonna
areas.
happen.
Find him
Some
in
niggas
heaven.
out
Don't
there
try to
clutching.
find him
When
and
niggas clutch, they
criminalize
ain't
him.
supposed to leave, though.
This is something you couldn't
we
have
see
got.
more than 5 niggas get the clutching. Niggas out there with ski masks on. They over geeked. It's a crowd. They get to show their guns off. I knew it was time to leave. It was time my old ass get the fuck up out of there, folks. Damn, man. Yeah, I'm off this shit, man. Fuck that. I ain't out
They
there
realize they need to be away from that.
I'm out there leaving. Fuck you, tomorrow. Go my stupid, goofy ass in the house.
Now he going home.
Damn, man.
He learned something. All right, Amari, give me a minute. You see? See, you know, you say, well, why you so intense? Why you so this? That's why right there. Because you got, you know, it's amazing. There are those of us out here that know how to hear him. That even know how to help him. But you want to bring in somebody that don't look like him, that haven't lived what he's living. You know? Don't understand his vibration. But you want to put labels and you're going to call it some type of disorder. That's what you're going to do. You're going to get, I'm trying to stay off the race thing. But I am so just insulted that every time something happens, you think it take you all to tell us what's happening with us. Ain't none of y'all can tell it any better than those young people told it. But no, they was not from no news network. They was just out for a good time. But during that process, they learned some things. We just hope it saved them. Now let's find that piece. There's a couple of little pieces here about what happened on North Avenue. Another situation. Probably some of the same characters involved from 31st Street. Just think. But there's a little thing here, every part of this. That boy there that's running, he don't look like one of ours.
In the video, you see the man pause and toss a bag before continuing on.
One of the two tossed a fanny pack, which was recovered, and a Glock handgun with an extended magazine was recovered from that bag. That particular individual that threw the bag with the gun in it made his escape.
Police are now hoping someone in the crowd of hundreds of young people recognizes this man.
Now, there he is. The fighting part, we don't have to show you no more of that because one fight is another fight. So, I mean, we don't have to waste the time because we spent a lot of time on that. But we just wanted to bring it to you because I think it's important that we pay attention. And that situation there was a situation that I'm going to say once in a long time before you would have another opportunity to actually see and feel and hear that type of narration. You understand? It was an invaluable lesson, and it should be used as an instructional tool to help others understand that they know better. And they didn't make a bad decision to go. You want to blame the gun. No, you can't blame the gun, y'all. Blame yourself. That's who you need to blame. Because they told you they was going to take it over. They told you that. But you said, they just having fun. They just this, they just that. No. And they ain't even what you call gangs. Not in the sense of street gangs as it relates to Negroes and Hispanics. Y'all don't even talk about the Asian gangs and these other people gangs. Just the Negroes and Hispanics. You want to demonize whatever they do. Well, I doubt if all of those kids there was in a gang. You don't want to profile? You should profile. No, you just want to keep hiring them undocumented immigrants to be the police. That's what you want to do. You want to keep letting everybody but the Negro patrol. their colony. But if you had some Negroes out there, you might be able to stop some of this. But you figure every Negro is going to over what? Identify with them young people in the car. Now, Negroes like me and others, we'll see those young people there. We would tap into it, help them understand it, and get through it. But no, you think senior citizens, elders, and people with credentials other than just being there, you don't count that. But you're spending millions of dollars as I speak. Run this you got up here, Amari. Maybe this will be a little bit more on that North Avenue piece.
We got a big fight North Avenue and Wells. Multiple young people.
Now this is North Avenue Beach.
Chaos at North Avenue Beach spilling over into the neighborhood.
And tonight, police are releasing surveillance video of a young gunman who is a person of interest after a teenager was shot multiple times.
Natalie joins us live with that video. Natalie.
Yeah, the shooting happened around 9:30 last night near Castaways Bar and Grill at North Avenue Beach. It left a 19-year-old critically wounded. And look at this video released by Chicago police tonight. It shows a young man running with another person behind him. Police ended up arresting one of the men, but the one who got away ditched a fanny pack containing a Glock handgun and an extended magazine. And check out the scene after the shooting in Old Town at the corner of North Avenue and Wells.
This is the same crowd that left North Avenue Beach where they was fighting at and the teenager got shot.
This gathering the result of another unlicensed beach party. Teenagers blocking traffic, resisting arrest, and hitting officers. Alderwoman Michelle Smith is calling for metal detectors and private security at all beach checkpoints. She says between Monday and Tuesday, 6 guns and 1 knife were recovered. Superintendent David Brown addressed that today.
Personal conflicts being resolved with gunplay, I think, is the best characterization of what's been happening in these circumstances. And the consequences when we make arrests to those offenders in our courts by our judges, the officers are doing their job.
When asked what the public can expect next weekend in terms of security at the beach, Superintendent Brown said dedicated officers doing everything they can to keep Chicago safe. Corey?
Now listen to that. If that's all you can do, them boys are right. Somebody need to get fired. And the National Guard need to come in and people need to be hired that can do something. It's a simple matter. It's a simple matter. That's your response to the question. Ain't that a shame? Amari, would you go to this piece where the mayor, we going to that 6 miles over the speed limit situation that happened? Yeah, that one I think. Yeah. Let me see. Is that the one that talks about she pulled a maneuver to block? Right there. Run that. Now, then I'll say a little bit afterwards. But in the meanwhile, while he clearing it up, I want to salute Mr. Mark Wallace, Alderman Bill, and the other aldermans that got it to the point that they got it. But now watch what she do, because she want to be almighty. Run that, man. And that's part of the problem, that attitude of hers.
Mayor Lightfoot blocked a vote today by a city council majority ready to rewrite rules for automated camera speeding tickets.
But that wasn't the end of the road. Political editor Mike Flannery has a contentious day at City Hall.
After the mayor prevented a vote on changing speed camera rules, 2 members began blocking votes on matters she wanted.
Me and Alderman Lopez wish to defer and publish.
So just so we're clear, and maybe we can save some time. Okay. Are you guys going to play this game on every item that comes out of finance?
Yep. The 9th Ward's Anthony Beal said his year-long campaign to raise the threshold at which automated cameras issue a $35 speeding ticket is not considered a game in his South Side community.
I'm representing 60,000 residents that are being hit upside the head with these fines and fees by these $35 tickets.
Beal's proposal would increase the threshold for an automated camera speeding ticket from the current 6 miles per hour over the speed limit to 10 miles an hour over. Unchanged, rules for a $100 ticket issued for driving 11 or more miles an hour above the speed limit. After insisting for months that speed cameras are only about safety in a city where 173 did die last year in speed-related incidents, the mayor now says police and other popular programs need the revenue.
We also can't be in a situation where we're not supporting our police department by taking away funding. We can't be in a position where we're not supporting infrastructure around parks and schools.
A half dozen council members who have been Lightfoot's allies are ready to vote against her on this speed camera issue. Yet another sign of the political peril the mayor faces with the next city election 8 months away. I'm political editor Mike Flannery.
Now, you know, that's just back to what they think. You know, somebody trying to be a politician and ain't a politician. Getting caught up. And the whole city is falling apart. It's amazing. Would you find that NPR piece, Amari? Because there's something, it's about 4 minutes, but I think we need to hear it. We need to hear it because of the fact that there are some things that are happening as it relates to the election that's coming up, and not just that election, but elections that's coming up that will help people understand better what's happening in real life. You understand? We just need to hear that. But by the time you see this right there, by the time you see this, you know, we're going to just show you that piece. And you don't have to look at me. You need to just listen to it.
In Republican primary contests this election year, some candidates are getting a boost from an unexpected place: Democrats.
And Republican Chris Matisse, a true conservative, 100% pro-Trump and proud.
That ad, which ran in California, was paid for by...
House Majority PAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
The House Majority PAC is affiliated with Democratic House Leader Nancy Pelosi. The strategy playing out in many states goes like this. Democrats give a boost to Republican primary candidates with extreme views, hoping they will be less competitive in a general election than a more moderate GOP candidate. It's a risky move with potential to backfire. Former Senator Claire McCaskill is a Democrat who has talked about how she used this tactic to win her race in Missouri in 2012. Welcome back to All Things Considered.
Thank you, Ari.
Let's go back a decade. You said that in the last 2 weeks of that 2012 Republican primary, you spent more money to boost Tea Party candidate Todd Akin than he spent on his entire primary campaign. What were you thinking as you spent millions of dollars to boost a conservative Republican candidate running for Senate in Missouri?
Well, every race is different. In my situation, there were 3 viable candidates, and Todd Akin was kind of the weirdest one. I knew he might say some weird things if he were nominated, and so he had less money. So we took a poll, figured out what Republican voters would really like about him, and we spent millions of dollars promoting him by telling Missourians all the things that the Republican primary voters liked about him, but that general election independent voters didn't like about him.
That strategy worked, and you say it was based on an assessment that he was, in your words, the weirdest candidate, and that he might say some weird things. 4 years later, a candidate who said a lot of weird things was elected president, and I think many Democrats thought Donald Trump might have been the weakest candidate in a crowded primary field. So there are clear risks here. Do people who try a strategy like this, are they playing with fire?
Well, there certainly are risks, and it's certainly different today than it was a decade ago. And let me point out the major difference. When Todd Akin said what I expected him to say, something that was off the wall in the general election, unlike today, the Republican leadership all came together and rejected him. We have watched the leadership in the Republican Party hide under their desk at the amazing, horrible things that Donald Trump would do. So it's different today. I'm not sure you could count on Republican leaders to stand up and reject a candidate that said things that were abhorrent to most voters.
Are there candidates whose positions are so extreme, whether it's endorsing QAnon or opposing American democracy, propagating the false narrative that the election was stolen from Donald Trump, that you think just the risk of getting them one step closer to federal office is simply too dangerous?
I think it depends on the district. If there is confidence that the voters in that district are going to reject that extremism, then I think elevating them may be a smart strategy. But it is a big mistake to do it in a district where a Trump candidate has as good or better chance of getting elected than a more moderate one.
Yeah, I'm just thinking confidence is never proof, right? A person can be sure that Hillary Clinton's going to win the presidency. And
political advertising. Truth about political advertising. Now I want you all to hear this, because you all, when I say you all, I ain't talking about nothing personal. But a lot of us, you know, we sort of naive. You know what I'm saying? The governor, he's running ads for the Republican candidate that's running for governor, Irvin. But you Negroes talking about how you can't vote for Irvin, da-da-da-da-da. Well, you just heard what they said in that NPR piece. It's a strategy. Think. But you so smart. You just want to be caught up. Oh, it's closer to the beginning of the tape. It's about probably number 5 from the top. It'll say truth about political advertising. You need to hear this. You need to hear it. You out here thinking you run something, you declare you's a Democrat. Okay. But at the end of the day, it don't matter. This piece right here. Listen to this piece. Is that what it says under there? I can't see from way back here, but I'm thinking it does. Yeah, run that piece, Brother Amari. Now, this piece here is going to
Senate candidate Eric Greitens. Take a look. It shows the former GOP governor holding a gun and supposedly hunting moderates in his own party, calling them rhinos. That would mean Republicans in name only. Facebook has banned the ad, and Twitter flagged it for abusive behavior. But guess what? If his campaign was to buy commercial advertising slots on local TV, an industry expert tells us that CBS news stations would have to air it. And that is for sure true when it comes to lies. Several candidates in other states have already used TV ads to repeat false claims of fraud in the 2020 election. And now you might think that broadcast stations like this one could reject such outright lies. But in fact, we have no choice but to air them, no matter how blatant or misleading. Be advised.
The liberal pro-Biden, pro-China Wall Street insider.
Every election year, it seems like politicians hit us with a 1-2 combination of spin.
Alex Mooney repeatedly disrespects veterans.
And scorn.
Reckless, dangerous, and irresponsible.
It's all part of a long tradition of using the public airways to persuade, and you might even say manipulate, American voters.
3, 2, 1, 0.
But while your regular, everyday commercial advertisers can sometimes face allegations of stretching the truth,
you'll get the best 5G network.
They're at least required by federal law to back up their claims with facts. You should know those rules do not apply to political candidates.
Don't assume that the political ad that you hear contains true information.
Joseph Watson guided the George W. Bush administration on telecommunications policy and is now a professor at the University of Georgia.
So a cereal company can't lie about their cereal, but a candidate can lie about their politics.
That is absolutely true.
And lately, he says the lying has gotten both bolder and more frequent.
It has not been historically as much of a problem prior to 2016. I would say after 2016, the world has changed a lot.
Watson points to commercials like this one from President Biden's 2020 campaign.
If Trump gets his way, Social Security benefits will run out in just 3 years from now.
It earned 4 Pinocchios from the Washington Post fact checker, a rating reserved for whoppers.
The thought of Americans who are living on fixed incomes thinking that's going to go away is terrifying.
Yeah, and here we have that lie approved by Joe Biden.
Absolutely, yeah.
But of course, not all lies are created equal. In this election cycle, there's one lie above all the others.
We won by a lot, not just a little bit. We won by a lot.
A lie that stands out in terms of sheer repetition.
Blue state liberals stole the election from President Trump.
I'll make sure our elections are never stolen again.
The amount of misinformation we're seeing in a midterm cycle is more than I've seen in the past in a presidential election cycle.
Wow.
That's what concerns me about 2024. If this is what the midterm looks like, and the ads are this aggressive and contain so much misinformation, what is it going to look like in the 2024 presidential cycle?
So why, you may fairly ask, would television stations air campaign commercials we know to be wrong?
If you're watching this ad right now, it means you're in the middle of watching a fake news program.
The answer is we must. And if you don't believe me, here's Bill Whittle, who oversees advertising for our affiliate WFSB in Hartford, Connecticut.
Have you ever rejected a political ad?
No, I haven't.
In how many years?
20.
He showed us how he reviews ads from political candidates.
And this is where I watch the spot to make sure that it conforms to the rules and regulations.
We notice there is an option to reject the commercials, but not for lying.
They have to say it's paid for by, the candidate has to use their name, and it has to be on the screen for at least 4 seconds.
Everything else, fair game.
Pretty much.
The rules were set almost 90 years ago by a law that states broadcasters have no power of censorship over any legally qualified candidate for office. And it requires stations to offer their lowest available rates ahead of an election.
Is it ever frustrating knowing that you have to press play on an ad that has falsehoods in it?
Yes, it is, definitely.
Does that cause any trouble for the station? You get phone calls about it?
We get a ton of calls.
2, 1, and take it.
In addition to accepting candidate ads, broadcasters must run them without edits. Although, as Watson sees it, there is maybe one potential option for stations interested in flagging ads from candidates.
They could put a disclaimer at the start of an ad that might say, the following is a paid political advertisement that may contain information that's not been verified or validated. There should be no preclusion to do that, but the challenge for broadcasters is any disclaimers that they put at the start of an ad can't be paid for by the candidate.
I don't see them doing that.
No.
What about allowing media companies like CBS and the other big broadcasters to step in and reject ads that are false?
Who watches The Watchmen?
Who watches us, you mean? So if you empower a government body to police the truth, that's problematic. If you empower media companies to step in and filter the ads, that's problematic. And so we're left with what we have.
That's exactly right. There really are no easy solutions to resolving this issue, and that's why it's such a conundrum.
No easy solutions. People are only restrained by their own sense of shame. And we should mention that 1934 law applies only to broadcasters on public airwaves, so not cable networks, not social media companies. They are free to remove or reject misleading political content. I wanted to do this piece because I hear from people online who are saying, how dare CBS air that ad? You know there are lies in it. We don't have any choice. It's the law.
This is fascinating.
It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make sense, and it's eye-opening, but I have a couple of questions. One, who watches The Watchmen? And I might be asking myself that, looking in the mirror reflection. But then this Communications Act of 1934. Has there been efforts to change it? And is there a slippery slope if you do? Like, how do you determine what's a lie? Isn't that the big question?
The only option, I think, would be to take the political law from 34 and apply it to cable and online, which would just increase the platforms for ads. It would mean that everybody has to accept everything. The tragedy and the triumph of America is that there is no ultimate backstop to preventing political lies, except for the American people.
But the candidates
trust one another.
But Tony, the candidates know they're putting on stuff that is a lie. So when they say my name is Tony DeCopel and I approve this ad,
that means they've approved it. They've approved the lie. They can say anything they want.
They put
their name on it.
They put their name on it. That's the only requirement. And they used to be restrained by shame, but shame is a thing from the old days, apparently.
Shame is not a deterrent anymore.
Now, this will be the last piece for the day because I think we've done enough. So we want to end this one, Omari, with 2024 polls shows only 9% right there. I mean, it's a political season, so we want to give you some political information. And then we're going to call it a night. I know it's day. I said night. but it depends on where you are. Now, this piece is interesting. It's information, but it's back to political awareness. Because if you're going to go to the polls, you need to see that the trick is on you.
This is Ingram Angle from Washington tonight. Thanks for being with us. Kamala skips to 2024. That is the focus of tonight's angle. Now, frantically trying to shake off his lame duck status, Joe Biden's busy rallying support in the Senate. A headline in The Hill tells the story. Democratic senators say Biden not too old for a second term. Senators are trying to sound enthusiastic about the soon-to-be octogenarian. Now, one of Biden's closest allies on the Hill, Chris Coons, said, "I look forward to working hard for Joe Biden in 2024. Come on. And Bob Casey predicted he's going to be the nominee, and he's going to be strong. But they know what we know. Come on. There is no Joe-mentum out there. And as the whiff of political rigor mortis hovers over Biden, attention is already turning to the field of potential 2024 contenders. Now, first up, Kamala Harris. Now, if you're doing the pros and cons, the only real pro I can think of is that she knows her way around the West Wing, like where all the bathrooms are and stuff. Other than that, she's been a total bomb. They made her the de facto border chief, remember that? And what does she have to show for it? Since Biden took office, more than 3 million people have been encountered or apprehended entering the United States illegally from over 150 countries. Now, the vice president, of course, avoids the border subject altogether, refusing to address the huge uptick in the illegal border crossers and the number just over the last 6 months. Now, the numbers, by the way, are not slowing down. In the first 5 months of this year alone, more than 1 million people have been encountered or apprehended entering the country illegally. They total more than the individual populations of Delaware, South Dakota, North Dakota, Alaska, the District of Columbia, Vermont, and Wyoming. Well, at this point, how is this called anything but an ongoing invasion of the United States?
Historic numbers here, 239,416 illegal crossings. That is now the highest number in DHS history. There were 100,699 Title 42 expulsions, representing only about 42% of the total. And there were a staggering 14,699 unaccompanied children. That's up 21% over April.
Kamala Harris said about a year ago that extreme progress was being made at the border.
She's honestly useless. I don't know why she's in that position. She hasn't been here in South Texas to see what their policies are creating, the mess that they're creating in our country, and that their policies are hurting real people.
Now, our president and vice president and the incompetent radical they put in at DHS, they're all responsible for this. Now, in a sane world, this subversion of our sovereignty would be an impeachable offense. But in Kamala land, it's grounds for a promotion in 2024. And we haven't even touched on her extensive gaffes.
We have to have the ability to address the root causes of why people leave. Root causes are based on the problems and the challenges that people are facing.
Diplomatic tests turn political quicksand.
Her allies in the White House and elsewhere are watching it and just kind of wondering what is going on.
We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And
We're told that some of what she said on the trip, her answers to questions, maybe even obvious questions, those answers have White House insiders perplexed.
I am here, standing here on the northern flank, on the eastern flank, talking about what we have in terms of the eastern flank and our NATO allies.
Vice President Kamala Harris on a visit to Poland came under some criticism.
Okay. A friend in need is a friend in need.
And now, perhaps in an attempt to expand her impressive resume of failure, Kamala Harris is taking on yet another role, one that will do nothing to help the average American, but will burnish her left-wing bona fides. I give you Kamala Harris, information and surveillance czar.
We continue to see how some acts of mass violence have followed expressions of online hate and abuse. This task force, then, will tackle a threat that has been far too real for far too many people for far too long. It will lead to more evidence-informed policies and interventions.
Oh my God, is anyone more annoying than her delivery there? Now, the White House had time for this big rollout today of this new task force it's on online harassment and abuse, which you may be kind of quick to dismiss as just a warmed over DHS disinformation board. Remember that kind of got disbanded? But that's not what's really going on here. Kamala comes with big guns, including the National Security Council, the White House Gender Policy Council, the Surgeon General, and even the DOJ is promising to get involved.
The Department of Justice is eager to take its role, take part in the critical work of this task force. We will publish an annual report on this information and all the information that we gather to further inform our enforcement efforts.
Now, this will include efforts to police language to effectively insulate political figures and journalists from disinformation, abuse, and harassment. So, Biden's DOJ refuses to investigate actual abuse and harassment of pro-life pregnancy centers all across the country, which is clear domestic terrorism, but they're pledging money and manpower to criminalize the expression of speech of their political opponents? And I have to ask this tonight. You heard Merrick Garland there. What actually constitutes abuse and harassment? Who makes that call? Now, to these people refusing to use, I don't know, someone's preferred gender pronouns, that would constitute a hate crime. Again, but actual acts of violence against their political opponents are downplayed or they're just ignored altogether.
Today's epidemic of hate, which is fueling violent acts against many communities, this is also American history. And we must teach it as it really happened. We can fight ignorance, dispel misinformation, and work toward a future where all people can live without fear.
Live without fear? What kind of utopia is she living in? Again, who gets to determine what is and what is not misinformation? That is not the government's role. The First Amendment isn't absolute. You can't scream fire in a crowded theater. But it sure as heck protects political speech, absolutely. Hate only cuts one way in Kamala Town. So without fail, if the choice is between protecting our freedom and catering to anti-American fanatics in her own party, Kamala will always choose the latter. But lucky for us, the best way to ensure the failure of any task force is to put her at its helm. From her embarrassing on-camera performances to her glaring lack of intellect, Kamala would be a very, very risky bet for the Dems post-Biden. So no wonder so many in her party are already looking for an off-ramp to get another gadfly, Pete Buttigieg, in center stage. After all, both would be firsts. Would they end up canceling each other out? You got to wonder. And if so, wait, if they canceled each other out, would that mean what I think it would mean?
My name is Joe Biden. I'm Joe Biden's husband.
Yeah. In America's undoing. And that's the angle.
Now, let me tell you something. I did not present that to throw shade on Harris. I presented it so people would understand the hypocrisy of this process, whether it's political, democratic or not. Omar, for two things, if you can, while I'm running my mouth, would you see, can you find this piece about the new press secretary, where they got her standing up there? It's three pieces. They got her standing up there, and she made a fraudulent slip. Yeah, that one. We want to play that one. And then there's another one where she actually was talking about COVID and the president COVID test. And then the last one in a yellow dress is for June the 14th, I think it is. Now, why do I want to show those? I want to show those because I said something earlier. See, this administration just somehow or another keep projecting a type of incompetence.
Has Aurora made
no, I am not.
I mean,
the
president's
been very clear.
Record on taxes. He increased taxes on natural gas by 400%.
I told you in the beginning, they are portraying this woman not as the press secretary, as she's portraying herself, not as the press secretary, but as a clerk. Look at her. Think about it. So when white folk see her and they use things they will always stereotyped black people with, it reduces that perception of professionalism. Press secretary, but watch how they are presenting her. And I would imagine that her time is sort of limited. And, you know, people need to just pay attention. And it ain't because, you know, I don't know the woman. It ain't one way or the other. But I do know that what I keep seeing is very dangerous as it relates to her. Because sooner or later, Biden will probably have to drop her because they portraying her. All right, Amara.
About doing that. I mean, the president has been very clear in making sure that he does everything that he can to alleviate the pain that American families are feeling when it comes to gas prices. About doing that. I mean, the president has been very clear in making sure that he does everything that he can to alleviate
the fraudulent slip. Yeah, okay, that'll work. That'll work, Amari. See, can you get the other two that I mentioned and deal with it? It's just that the other one showed a view, but this one is good enough because I don't want to expose the girl like that. See, you know, she might even be sort of young for that position. And my thing is, how are they making these decisions? How are they choosing these people? They can't find no black men to put in positions, really. But he got a whole harem of black females. And that don't mean that I'm calling them what usually is associated with harems. You understand? It's just that we need to pay attention. Is it by design or is it just happening? And I'm suggesting that, you know, Negroes need to detox themselves from the so-called political party. Not to the extent that you go cold turkey, but you need to look at people that gonna help you for your vote. The Republicans are basically claiming the Hispanics, because that's where they going. The Republicans can basically claim, yeah, that piece right there. The Republicans can basically claim the Asians. But what do they say about the Democratic Party? They say the Democratic Party backbone is the black female. And we have seen some of the fallout of that. Because now they say a lot of black men are looking toward the Republican. Not as a Republican, not really as alternative, but because of the fact that they have been taken for granted so long by the Democratic Party and gotten nothing until people just saying we tired. And I think that's something that we need to look at. So as you go off into this election season, and here in Chicago, in Illinois, June the 28th, don't just vote because you only have two choices, really. Democrat or Republican. That's the sadness because people like me don't have a choice in the primary. I declare myself to be independent, but there is no spot for me to vote as an independent candidate for June the 28th. See what I'm saying? It's a trick. But you can't see the trick. But now, come the June election, after they have gotten all of the Negroes that vote Democrat because they have been poisoned by that party against anybody else, whether they're Republican or not. Then, when you get to the general election, you basically are restricted to vote for what's left. But the person that you wanted might have been helped had you, independent black voters, been able to vote for that person in the primary. So we showed you this political thing where you can lie your behind off in advertising. And that's what they be doing. Where you can be the governor of Illinois and spend money on a Negro that a white man has given $40 million to run for governor, but Negroes will not vote for him because you have told them he's a Republican. But he might be the best thing for them. But the governor, a Democrat, spent millions of dollars running advertisement for Irving. You think about that as you go to the poll. And you figure out what is the agenda. Don't just sit back. At some point, you need to start paying attention. Till next week, Alafia, peace, and good health.